Hi everyone, this is Dan, and this is the internet. Welcome to hell. Anyhow, guys, so yeah, some recent news lately. I think a lot of you guys have been seeing it with the whole Chris Claremont, and all the usual reaction channels are talking about him getting canceled right now. So I've kind of looked into this a little bit. This has occurred at the Chicago Comic and Entertainment Expo, C2E2. And I'm going to be honest, my understanding of all of this and everyone's reactions is from a Twitter thread. And just as a reminder, Twitter is pure ass cancer. So, you know, I don't really know how valid any of this stuff is going on from a Twitter thread, which is like a live tweet thread that happened with a panel. Now, to be fair, what was said in this Twitter thread, and I'm just going to jump to it now because I'm tired of looking at these stupid clickbait screens. What was said here doesn't surprise me based on previous Chris Claremont interviews. Some of it is a little bit, oh, that's interesting, though I'm going to be honest, it's just, I would say it's honest takes. You know, and then some of it is kind of a little bit weird Claremont takes, I would say. But I don't really see a problem with any of this. And as far as like people are like, oh, Chris Claremont's gonna get canceled. First off, I kind of doubt it because, I mean, why would they? They pay the guy not to write. It's kind of insane, honestly. Now, he's certainly not going to get put on the main X-Men line, but he wasn't going to get put on the main X-Men line anyway. I think they're pretty dedicated to this awful Krakoa run. So there is some rumors that he's going to get a new Extreme X-Men run. I don't know how much I really believe that. I think it'll probably just be a little special. I'll give him like a graphic novel or something like that. And I don't know how much it's going to be successful, just because I think Chris really did work a lot better when he had some talented editors around him. I mean, even to this day, he still talks about working with Ann Nocenti and Louise Simonson, and I think he kind of needs the editors to help him out just a little bit. But all right, let's go through this pile of ass cancer right here. So this is the live tweet thread. Basically, they're bitching about how they're waiting for Claremont and talking about 80s comics. God, I hate freaking Twitter threads. So he shows up, and then they basically nerd out for a whole bunch. So here's like, how did the Asgardian War come about? So this sounds like basically audience questions. By the way, Asgardian War is dope. I've covered some of them in my channel. They're awesome. I got to cover X-Men Alpha Flight, by the way. But yeah, no, he talks about he talks about the New Mutants, Magma being dumb, Karma's Arc, Ultimate Weight Loss Program. I dug that freaking New Mutants special, man. That was the shit. Anyway, yeah, art doesn't do sequentials anymore. Yeah, art. So the vast majority of artists from the 80s don't really do sequential art anymore. Most of them get called up to do cover art, and that tends to happen to a lot of successful comic book artists. Like, once you get successful, nobody wants you to really do sequentials anymore because you're expensive, and they'd much rather you do a cover so that you could sell someone else's sequentials for them, right? Like, I mean, after a while, what was that? That was, you know, George Perez for a long time was doing that kind of stuff. You know, a bunch of people are basically that way. Also, there's a lot of like really talented artists that eventually they can't really do sequentials all that well, but you know, they've done one or two there that looked really amazing, and they just kind of make their living off of doing covers or, you know, requests or whatever, right? Commissions. Braggsy outsold Thor 3-1 because he did outsell Thor 3-1 during this time. Claremont hates the Jim Lee design. I don't like Jim Lee's design for Jean Grey. It's kind of freaking wacky. Tessa Thompson. This one was great. It says Tessa Thompson should go make another Men in Black. Sorry, persons in black. So Chris is pitching a Krakoa book. Chris, you don't have to pitch a Krakoa book. You know, it's not necessary. Complaining about young editors who were born after he was fired the second time. Well, to be fair, Chris, these are young editors that also don't make any money. So, you know, they're basically there for their Twitter clout, I should say. Professor X is a twat. Doesn't call John Byrne. See, this is what I was saying. Like, I don't think Chris and John are on the best of terms, even to this day, right? Actually, what bummed me out about this Twitter thread, if any of this is true, by the way, this is kind of like allegedly, you know, take all of this with a grain of salt because it's fucking Twitter and nobody knows what's going on here. Question about ever working with John Bolton, and he probably went off on Roman history and Marada right here. This is actually something that I think Chris should do. Let's say theoretically Chris gets canceled by Marvel, which I highly doubt because I don't know why they would be paying him money to do nothing. They could have got rid of him a long time ago if that was the case. But I think Chris could have continued Marada. You know, maybe not with John Bolton, but most likely with another artist or whoever with John Bolton's permission, right? Because they both own the character together. And I think that would have been the best idea for him because he clearly has a passion for Rome and Roman history, and the story just makes a bunch of sense. He could write freaking books about it, for that matter. Though, to be fair, his writing's not that great. He's definitely much more of a comic book writer. Oh, this is interesting. Talks about Gambit. Yeah, he was talking about, you know, depressing Gambit was a good guy. Yeah, Gambit was supposed to be a bad dude, and then they kind of turned him into the basically Wolverine 2, which kind of sucks. Calls X-Men Forever stupid. Yeah, because it was stupid. That was definitely Chris Claremont at his low end right there. Says he can't get away with being another white guy playing fast and loose with racial identity because I'm British and we've been doing this for 1,000 years. Yeah. I kind of wish there was that actual recording because I think it probably would be hilarious to listen to this in real life. Would turn Kitty into the cosmic daughter to T'Challa and Storm. Would have turned Kitty black. I mean, at this point, I think that would actually be an upgrade to current Kitty Pryde. It would be also very predictable, but I don't know how much he's actually joking because this is fucking Twitter. Which, you know, who gives a shit? Let's see, Claremont. Dave Cochran could produce 20 pages for a hell of a lot less than it took to produce Infinity War. Well, I mean, a lot of things cost less than Infinity War. I think one thing we got to remember here is Chris Claremont's like in his 70s. So, you know, still a sharp guy, but I mean, come on, people. He's pretty old. Complaining about internals now. You know, one thing I kind of regret about, well, I shouldn't say I regret, but I think is regrettable, is I think Chris sometimes cares too much about the movies, and I think that's because he cares too much about the X-Men. Like, that is one thing that, like, every time I hear an interview with him, he still kind of goes on and on about the X-Men movies, which I'm not a big X-Men movie fan. So, like, the rest of this is him complaining about how Dark Phoenix was screwed over by Captain Marvel and MCU bullshit, which I don't care because Captain Marvel and Dark Phoenix were both awful. Says Fox wasn't allowed to talk about how great Sophie Turner, blah, blah, blah. I don't know if I agree with that. Sophie Turner's okay. Claremont is complaining about MCU Phase 4, says Eternals was a flop. It was. Spoiled Multiverse of Madness and felt bad. Talking about how fat Russell Crowe is. Dude, this seems like a pretty freaking fun panel right here. God, I wish there was a recording of this. I don't know. I'm not gonna, by the way, like, if he gets canceled, I'm not one of those channels that is gonna, like, oh, this is so lamentable. Yeah, it'll be bad if Chris Claremont gets canceled. But I also think of all the good. He could, you know, stop waiting for Marvel to give him opportunities and just go and do his own thing. I think at this point it's like, why? You know, it's clear the X-Men are dead, and you know, you should just let this go and go work on your own stuff, right? You know, I mean even then, like, it almost makes more sense for him to do like New Mutants or other shit. Someone just told Chris that Kamala is the first MCU mutant. What the fuck? Says she should be at a school. All I really want is somebody at Marvel to do Game of X. I don't do Game of X, dude. You need to get the fuck out of there before it's too late. Says he is most proud of God Loves Man Kills, but it changes every day. Okay. Calls the original X-Men 4 white guys and Marvel Girl. I mean, so not to bring up the race thing, you know, and again, there's a lot of like really good original X-Men run. Yeah, man, this seems like Chris Claremont just unfiltered. Man, this would have been a good freaking panel to listen to. But one of my big problems with like the original X-Men is it just seemed like 4 like upper class New Yorkers, you know, and they kind of, you know, they're in this like really nice school and everything, and they're not really like inherently likable people, like compared to Spider-Man or the Fantastic Four or whatever. And I think Claremont really improved that with the new X-Men in terms of getting you more interested in the characters. Now, later on, all of those characters were developed a lot better, but that's kind of one of my complaints about the original X-Men team. Goes on about the Brood Queen. So someone has now asked about Krakoa, talking about giant size and his yeeting of Krakoa into space. Does a dumb voice about bringing back Krakoa. I killed Thunderbird, but he's still dead, someone told him. I don't mind if they bring him back, but couldn't they do a good story? Yeah. Says in 5 years, Krakoa and Arrakis like Dune won't exist. Calls Marvel today like 1960, 70 DC. This is funny because he basically gets paid to do nothing for Marvel. Which, you know, I think at this point he's basically like, fuck this, I don't care. It sounds like it. I'm gonna be honest though, it like, if he basically just did like one more X-Men one shot and then yeeted out and finished Marada, I think that would be a pretty damn good career for Chris Claremont. You know, just my opinion here. There's a couple scenes for Extreme where there's a mutant firefighter and a Coast Guard search and rescue person describing the same powers as Lifeguard, complaining about Krakoa. What's it like to be the only mutant in the block when everyone else lives in Krakoa? It shouldn't be this hard to manufacture. Complaining about Kitty and Marauders. Everybody complains about her. She's fucking terrible. Ugh. It's that most of this is his ego talking. Well, I would say him talking about script writing for Hollywood for sure. And then if you want, you can read the Pop First, which kind of does a summary of this crazy ass Twitter thread. But yeah, here's my quick run on the whole thing. I kind of don't think he'll get canceled, just because why would Marvel continue to pay him just to do nothing? That doesn't make a lot of sense to me. There's clearly something Marvel wants from him. My guess is this whole time is they didn't want him writing for DC. But to be fair, DC has and had a lot of good writers, so I don't think that makes a ton of sense either. But yeah, if he does get canceled, I actually think that's awesome because that means he can go do his own thing and write like his own stories for once and not have to get the approval of fucking Marvel. Which is, you know, basically circling the toilet. Though to be fair, at least Marvel outlasted DC, am I right? Oh boy. Anyway, guys, I'm not gonna make a habit of doing these goddamn Twitter videos just because they're fucking lame. But the quick end right there is, you know, I don't think anything's gonna come from this. And I think people are overreacting, and honestly, if something does come from this, it's probably a good thing. So, you know what I mean? Anyhow, guys, that's the video. Let me know what you think. If you like this video, please hit the thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed, hit the bell for notifications. If you got any comments on Chris Claremont going ham here, leave it down below, and I will see you next time.